and I will be talking to you tomorrow, Michael.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gary, and thank you, Gordon.
Okay, thanks for calling in.
Okay, sorry, about that, but he called, and he has a lot of input. I mean, this guy, runs a group actually about UFOs and all that stuff, and Bigfoot and all that stuff, and he gets together with them like weekly, and they talk about it. So I mean, it's interesting. But on your book, I really, from reading the reviews on the internet. People are really liking it. I can see how some people could probably read the book and actually get, how can I say it? They get so engrossed in the book, they become part of the whole story.
Yes, it does happen. It does happen because of the use of this additional material. Which, as I say. That was another idea that developed, but it made all the difference. And there isn't any book that's trying to do that yet. I stand to be obviously corrected if there is, but I certainly haven't found it yet. And I'll just give you a quick list of some of these ancillary things.
Yeah, please do.
So we've got reporting of the initial find in the international press. We have the story that about the unique characteristics of an ancient society that made religious beliefs redundant. This is an important point. The society of Xandernatis was totally a-religious. They had no need of religion because they knew about all their previous lives. So they didn't need to dream up some kind of fairy story to believe in because they knew. So that makes it a society which is, of course, unlike any other, and that is why it is, of course, the story of the real Garden of Eden before the fall.
Okay.
So we've also got bits of rivalries within the editorial teams who were working on transcribing the documents about making the texts because the head of the committee was afraid that making the texts into sensational public material. They thought it would be too he didn't want it to be sensationalistic. Echoes of pre-glacial civilization in Australian Aboriginal Dreamtime mythology. Yes, there are in the Aboriginal legends. You can find and see the links which go back to the time of Xandernatis. Reports from the PLMRI Research Institute looking for subjects with past life memories in a temperate Antarctica. And as we already talked about, Martha Calbro's unique dreaming diary recording her initial out-of-body experience and her vision of time spinning backwards. And then the reincarnation debate in social media sparked by the revelations, plus examples of vehement repudiation from religious conservatives, the emergence of a neo-Xandernatis movement, the NZO, designed to promote the principles revealed in the ancient writings, a sensational discovery in 2013 solving the 37-year-old mystery and revealing a concerted conspiracy with intimations of CIA involvement to keep the Harkon findings out of the public arena. And finally, disputes over movie rights and the minutes of a pre-production meeting and further developments in the entertainment area. So that's in there, packaged with the story.
Oh, wow. Now, one thing in there, I take it there's battles and stuff like that. How about, is there any love story, since I haven't been able to read the book, what I've been able to see on the internet, is there any love story at all in it?
Now, that's a very good question because there isn't. One could say that there should be, but there isn't any. There isn't any love story there. Well, mind you, there isn't. Is there a love story in the Lord of the Rings? Can't remember. Not really.
No, not
But anyway,
really. No.
it's it is all very much the quest and all this other material. Actually, I must say that adding all the extra material kind of makes up for it, because I think that was one of the things when I reread the original story. I realized there was no love interest, but by adding all this wealth of extremely diverse material, it gives you so many other things to follow that I think that it isn't a problem. There's one other thing. Not only do we look into the past, but we also look into the future, because one of the people who does a regression by the PLMRI Institute, they actually go forward in time, and they come back with news that in I think around the year 2022, there is a new ballet put on by the Royal Opera House in London, and it's called Xandenatis. And we even have the poster. And Xandenatis, the subtitle, Xandenatis, where dance was born. And there's the poster. There's a review of the first night in the Evening Standard, and there is a complete synopsis of the ballet and the list of all the dancers. And that's at the very end of the book. So that's showing us the way time can weave in and out, so that everything happens at once, and therefore we are able to witness and read about this wonderful ballet, which will become one of the Royal Ballet's greatest productions in about 20 years.
Oh, wow. Now, getting into the sequel you're writing, I hope you're using a computer now and not using the typewriter with all that carbon paper.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm using the computer. I'm using the voice typing, and yeah. But I've got to get back to that, because I did get, as I say, sidetracked by the penguins. But I must get back to it, and there's lots of things to discover. But what is wonderful, I know that the pod that was delivered to me that morning from Venus, it's still there. So it's just a question of it's kind of a zip file, So I've just got to unzip it.
Okay. Now, hey, Gordon, what I want to do is, why don't we do this? Why don't you tell people how they can get your book, how they can order it, give them your website, and then maybe for about 10 minutes, why don't we talk about your previous book and where they can get that, and, then we can then wrap it up for tonight. And I do want to thank you, because, a lot of people don't realize there's a big time difference between here on West Coast time than where he's at in France. So I'm surprised you're awake.
Yeah, well, I know. And last night, yes, it's been a bit of a short night, because at our local cinema we have transmissions from the Royal Opera House, because I'm a big opera fan, opera and ballet, and we have shows transmitted from the Royal Opera House there, and I do presentations. I do a 10-minute presentation before every show, and in French, of course. And last night there was an amazing ballet, and so I was there doing that, and we watched the show, and then I came back at 11 o'clock last night, and I was up this morning at 4. But it's great. I mean, I can think of no better way of starting a day than having a talk like this with you and sharing it with people. I think it's absolutely great to think that before you have your breakfast normally at the normal time, you've already talked to the world. It's great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and a lot of what's interesting about our show too is that you can go on the internet like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Speaker Radio, TuneIn, and you can listen to the replays too. I mean, they're up there. It doesn't cost you anything, guys. You can actually just go on there and type in nightdreamstalkradio.com, or You can go www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. That's www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and you can go back and listen to about 80 different shows. You know, I kind of keep it at about 80 levels. So, I mean, you can listen to any of the previous shows. I think you're still up there, Gordon, and you are still getting a lot of hits off your, last interview. So why don't you tell people where they can get this great book that if they read it, they're going to probably change their whole life because of it. I think so.
Okay, well, great. Anyway, yeah, sure. You can. It's on Amazon. You just have to. You type in. You go to Amazon and you type in Genesis Antarctica, and of course you'll go straight to it. And you've got choices. You can either buy the 3 volumes separately. Obviously, easier to put into your back pocket. Well, whatever. Or you can buy the three books in one. So there's the 3 volumes. There's Predestination, Destination, and Apotheosis, the 3 separate Xandernatis books, and then there is the whopping 772-page Genesis Antarctica. So Amazon, Genesis Antarctica, you'll find it. Also, if you put into Google Genesis hyphen Antarctica, you will find the website. It's pretty spectacular. They're friends. Well, they became friends. They found out about the book by chance, and they were so enthralled with it that they virtually created the website for peanuts, or even more or less for nothing.
For the love of it. For the love of it. How's that?
Yeah.
And also, how about YouTube? How would they look it up on YouTube for the couple of clips you sent me?
There again, we have a channel. But anyway, if you put Genesis Antarctica into YouTube, you'll hit. We've got about 6 or 7. We've got six or seven clips up there. I think there is the 6-minute audiobook clip, which is quite comprehensive, and it's a good introduction to the whole book. There is also a 2-minute movie type trailer, which was done by the same people who did the website, and it's absolutely brilliant. Bill uses it actually as a trailer for his spoken acting, and there are also some extracts from the book that are there. There is also a recording by Estelle of the very interesting introduction that was written by Penny Kelly, who's an American writer who writes about metaphysical subjects, fascinating books, and she wrote a splendid introduction. So, Genesis hyphen Antarctica, YouTube and Amazon, you'll find it, and you'll probably also people will also probably they will find the other information about the other books about penguins and about reincarnating penguins and how to stimulate or how to get memories from young children between the age of about 3 and 7. Which is all. It's all tied in. It's all part of the package.
Yeah. Well, that you've come a long ways from, doing, working in a theater, operating the electrical panel. I have a massive electronic background. I've been in broadcasting on and off since the mid-'70s. And I also, besides being on the air and selling radio and talk shows, I even was a engineer for a couple radio stations, which they didn't know I was colorblind. So, some of the color wires, I would sit there when the transmitter went down, I started freaking out. I'd freak out. Hey, this is this? I would yell. I would yell at whoever was in the station. I go, hey, come here for real quick. Is this wire green or is it brown, or it would run across brown and red would run together. And I go, because I mean, if you hook a red and a brown together, you could have a serious problem on the radio transmitter. So I mean.